Yep.
So, Coach, thank you for joining me today to preview Super Wildcard Weekend, which is coming up this weekend on Sky Sports NFL.
Yeah, it's going to be a big weekend on Sky this weekend. We got more games than we've ever had in Wildcard Weekend, and I think we got some great matchups.
But first of all, your reaction to Week 18, because it was such a weird weekend and almost had the craziest ending with that Raiders Chargers game.
Yeah, there were a number of games that, believe it or not, if they would have come down to ties, teams could have gotten in. It's probably the first time that I can recall in NFL history that teams actually considered playing for the tie. You heard Rich Bisaccia, the head coach of the Raiders, talk about that they're on their final drive, they were actually thinking about playing for the tie. And then San Diego took, or excuse me, I always call the Chargers San Diego. The Chargers took the timeout, and the Raiders decided to run the ball with Jacobs one more time to get a little bit closer, and they tried the field goal.
So, previewing Wildcard Weekend, we start off with an AFC clash. It is actually the Raiders against the Bengals. The Raiders coming in off that win. And the Bengals with Joe Burrow, Bradley's fit, and Jamar Chase. This seems quite a tough matchup to call on paper.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a real good game. It has a chance to be a high-scoring game. I think the matchup that we're going to focus on Sky is going to be the pass rush of the Raiders, which really got after Herbert really well in the game this past weekend against Joe Burrow. Because if Joe Burrow has time with his group of receivers, it's going to be really tough on that Raiders secondary. Now, it's interesting that the Raiders don't blitz very much. They only brought five-man pressure 5 times in that game against the Chargers. So they try and get home with 4 so that they can help that back end. So again, schematically, it's going to be a really fun game to break down for the fans.
With the Bengals, obviously the AFC North was probably the tightest division in the league with so many teams doing well. So do you think that could play into the Bengals' hands, the way you could say they've had more, not tougher games, but been able to apply themselves more in pressure moments?
Well, they've played against great defenses. Baltimore has a great defense. Pittsburgh has one of the best defenses in the league, and Cleveland has a number of really fine defensive players. So they're battle tested. They're not going to be, Burrow's not going to be intimidated. So the Raiders are going to have to play extremely well, and I think the Raiders are going to have to run the ball and keep the ball away from Burrow if they have a chance to win the game.
And then following that, we have the Patriots against the Bills. The 6 seed Patriots against the 3 seed Bills. Now, on paper, look at the scenes, you'd say the Bills would win this, but Mac Jones has been wheeling and dealing this season, especially in the second half of the season. Do you think he could lead the Patriots to another Super Bowl?
I think, Mike, I think it's going to come down to whether the Patriots can stay within 1 score of the Bills. If they can, that allows Belichick to use some formations that the Bills have really struggled to play against. And we're going to illustrate that in the pregame breakdown, just how difficult some of what we call big sets that New England runs are on the Bills defense. The Bills defense is built to rush the passer. It's not built to play the run. And so you look at their defensive ends, Jerry Hughes, F.A. Obata, Addison, Epinesa, all of them are speed guys. They're not built to be physical run stoppers. And so New England has taken advantage of that every time they played when they were within 1 score. If Buffalo gets on top and gets ahead a couple scores, it's going to be tough on New England because New England doesn't want to put it on Mac Jones. They want to put it on the running game and their defense.
And then obviously coming on to Sunday now, we've got a triple header. The NFC clash between the Eagles and the Bucs. The Bucs just missed out on the 1 seed to Green Bay. And the Eagles, they never say die attitude. This one could be an interesting one, but the Buccaneers have got possibly the GOAT, Brady.
I think this one might be a little closer than people think because the one thing the Eagles can do real well is run the ball. And Jalen Hurts and that stable of running backs that they have in Philadelphia is really pretty good. They've got a good offensive line. They're big and they're physical. And Nick Sirianni does a nice job with running a scheme that allows them actually to run the ball without blocking guys, which is hard to do. But they put an awful lot on Jalen Hurts. And if Jalen Hurts plays well, Tampa's going to have their hands full. If Tampa gets ahead and, again, same story, Philadelphia can't run the ball, then, and they have to go back and throw it, then I think it's really favors Tampa Bay. So I think Tampa will win the game, but I think Philadelphia is going to play a little better than people think.
And then following that, we have the 49ers against the Cowboys. Jimmy G against Dak and Zeke. This one,
Yep.
I think this is a really tough game to call because on the day, both teams can really take off, but they've both had bad runs this season.
Yeah, I think this is going to be really interesting to one because of the historical context. I mean, this is two teams that go all the way back to the 80s, have played in the playoffs a number of times. And oftentimes, those games were the de facto Super Bowl because both of the Cowboys and the Niners were the two best teams in the NFC. I'm not sure that's the case now, but these are two teams that'll go, I think, deep into the playoffs or can go deep into the playoffs. San Francisco does a great job running the ball. Deebo Samuel is a tremendous football player. You've got Juszczyk, you've got Kittle, and Jimmy G really outplayed Matt Stafford last weekend in that win over the Rams. So I think they're primed for playoff success. And on the other hand, you look at the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are a collection of stars. They've got great talent all over the football field. It's going to be interesting to see whether they can withstand the storm of San Francisco's running game.
And then finally on Sunday, we have the Steelers against the Chiefs. Do Pittsburgh have a chance? That's a good question.
Well, I think you've always got a chance, but like I said on Inside the Huddle, they got two chances, Slim and none, and Slim just left town. So I think it's going to be I think the Chiefs will just have too many weapons. Now, again, if Tyreek Hill isn't 100% and if Kelsey's not 100%, that could change things. That TJ Watt will be coming off the corner. It's going to be really interesting to me as a football coach to see how Andy Reid helps his tackles and protection, because they're going to have to help those tackles out because TJ Watt has had maybe the greatest year by any pass rusher in the history of the National Football League. He tied Strahan's record, but he did it in 14 games, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, so it looks like it could be a Kansas City win, but funny things happen in the NFL, because I remember last season I predicted the Steelers to beat the Browns, and then we see what the Browns did in that first quarter. Anything can happen.
That's why we're fans, man. That's why we show up. That's why people buy tickets and people buy subscriptions to Sky so they can watch the best athletes in the world playing this great game.
Agreed. And then we finish off Wildcard Weekend on Monday night, early Tuesday morning, with the Cardinals against the Rams. And I think this could be the best of the lot. This game is literally could be done on a toss for a coin. You've got Murray, and then you've got Stafford.
Well, I think the two quarterbacks obviously are going to be key, but to me, it's consistency. Whether Murray is able to make enough plays. Now, he's going to make plays because he's a great athlete, but he also has had a history of, making two good plays and then making two bad ones. And in playoff football, consistency really matters. The same thing's true for Stafford. Stafford's got to stay out of the interceptions, or that Cardinal defense, Vance Joseph's defense, is very, very good.
Yeah. So quickly now, because I know you haven't got much time. Prediction: Who is going to win Super Bowl in February? who is going to be lifting the Vince Lombardi? Because I've seen on your Twitter, loads of people have been tweeting you, and you've been retweeting their picks. People have gone for the Packers and the Chiefs and a few others. But who do you think is going to be lifting the Vince Lombardi trophy this season?
Well, Michael, I think when you get to playoff football, so much always is put on the shoulders of the quarterback. And if you look at the quarterbacks in the tournament, for my money, it's, Brady and Rodgers are the two best. Now, when I think about, home field advantage, obviously places like Arrowhead, and those are tough places to play, but the frozen tundra in January is maybe the toughest place to play. And Aaron Rodgers knows how to handle that environment. He knows how to handle the weather conditions. Devontae Adams is one of the best receivers in the league. They've got two outstanding running backs and a defense that's played better. The only place I think the Packers are a little bit suspect is in special teams. But again, as long as they don't screw it up, I think they're good enough to win the whole thing.
And as a special teams coach, you obviously love those type of plays. Maybe the fake punts, the whatever you want to do on special teams. You must love that as a former special teams coach, don't you? Like the unsung heroes almost.
Yeah, I think it's the part of the game that most people don't really appreciate. It's, football is always and always will be. It's a game of land acquisition, right? And when I say that, it's about field position. If you make the opponent work on a long field, your defense is going to play much better. If you give them a short field, your defense is going to struggle. Same is true for your offense. Play on a short field. Give Aaron Rodgers a 50-yard field. He's going to beat you every time. Give him a 90-yard field, and you got a chance against him. So I think that's one of the reasons why I love special teams so much, because it is such a big factor of the game, and a lot of people don't realize that.
Well, Coach, and I know it's been quick and short, but thank you for giving up your time today. And just remember, we'll see you, Neil, and the rest of your guests on Sky Sports NFL this weekend for what's going to be another great weekend of probably one of the best sports in the world. Cheers, Coach.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. And keep doing what you're doing, man. Love it.